The world of e-mobility is moving fast, and one of the more surprising players pushing things forward is Rivian, kind of. Think of Rivian as the trunk of the tree, because one of its offshoots, a brand called Also, is starting to grow in a really interesting direction. They've just pulled the curtain back on something new called the TMQ, a modular electric quad that's clearly built with cities and fleets in mind. So yes, Also comes from the Rivian universe, but it's very much its own thing. The brand is focused almost entirely on urban mobility, and right now that means two main vehicles, an advanced e-bike and this modular quad we're talking about today. If the name also sounds familiar, that's because we recently talked about their TMB e-bike, which had one of the wildest designs we've seen in a long time. That bike introduced an entirely new motor and battery system, a highly adjustable seating setup, and more power than anything else currently in the e-bike world. What really stood out, though, was how it worked. Your pedaling doesn't directly power the motor in the traditional sense. Instead, it captures your energy, turns it into electricity, and then software takes over to deliver a ride that feels like a classic bicycle, tuned to your preferences. Add front and rear suspension, fenders, lights, and anti-theft tech, and you start to see how deep that project goes. Now let's shift to the real star of today, the TMQ. This one isn't aimed at everyday riders like you and me. It's built for businesses, especially fleet operators who spend their days hauling cargo or making deliveries around town. Visually, the TMQ shares that same clean, tubular design language as the TMB, but this time the frame isn't modular up front. What you see is what you get in terms of the main body. The real flexibility shows up at the back, where the TMQ offers different configurations depending on the job. One version looks almost like a small urban taxi, with a rear cabin that could carry one or even multiple passengers, complete with facing bench seats. Another version is all about cargo, featuring a tall, enclosed rear box that feels very similar to something like a Piaggio Ape. It's clearly meant for larger items that need protection from the weather, or maybe even temperature control. From the limited images released so far, details are still pretty scarce, but one thing that stood out is the side-loading cargo bay. That alone makes this vehicle very appealing for parcel and package delivery companies, assuming the pricing makes sense. We still don't know anything concrete about the motor, battery, or range of the TMQ, but if it borrows heavily from the TMB's tech, there's a lot of potential here. One of the biggest talking points is that this vehicle may be able to use bike lanes, depending on local laws. For delivery companies, that could be a huge advantage when it comes to speed and efficiency in crowded cities. That said, Also is very clear with its disclaimer. Bike lane access depends entirely on state and local regulations, so anyone interested would definitely need to check the rules before rolling out a full TMQ fleet. Comfort and durability also seem to be a big focus. Up front, the TMQ uses a double wishbone suspension setup, something you usually see on ATVs and off-road machines. That suggests it's built to handle rough city streets, while keeping both the driver and the cargo protected. The rear suspension details are still unclear though, so hopping curbs might require a bit of caution. As for pricing, that's still a mystery. We'll need more details directly from Also to understand where this fits in the market. So, is the TMQ the electric cargo vehicle that could reshape how cities handle deliveries and urban transport? It's too early to say, but it's definitely one to watch. And hopefully we'll see test rides and real-world use before long.